5%.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are listening to the Common Cast. We are here coming live, Torque Games. We are at the illustrious Mr. Irrelevant's house. That's right, all of us, 4 of us, gathered around this microphone to drop some knowledge. You read it right there in the video. This is the Star Wars The Force Awakens review coming straight at you. We got our leader here, Torque Games. Say hello to the fans, Torque.
Hello, fans.
We also got Edge of Space.
I don't live in the Rockies anymore.
There we go. What a pop. The crowd goes wild. Put that in post,
The
Trevor.
crowd goes mild.
Of course, you have Gibby right here. We're going in a line, even though you can't see the line. And then our humble abodress, it is Mr. Irrelevant.
Yes. I'm also sick, so I probably won't say very much.
Alright, well, he lended his house. It's a pause for the cause, so Mr. Irrelevant won't talk at all, apparently.
So I'll
So
talk, I'm just...
you're who I can blame for this congestion I have right now.
No,
That
I'm pretty
explains
sure we
it.
can blame
Alright, so
some other
that,
guy
so
who will
friends,
remain unnamed.
so friends, what we're saying is we're all risking a cold here to give you this podcast. Alright, so that's right, we're talking The Force Awakens. Alright, what's the overall mood you guys got from this? Let's go with Torque.
I got the same mood from A New Hope. Because if you watch the movie, you obviously could see that J.J. Abrams paid a good tribute to Star Wars, and there's a lot of similarities between...
It is a Star Wars movie, so I hope it pays tribute to Star Wars.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, like, J.J. Abrams did a great job, and it was... there's a lot of similarities between this one and A New Hope, which I did enjoy. However, it was different, whereas you had, like, a Death Star as a baseball. You have, like, a giant watermelon as this new...
Well, I kind of
I think there's a gas leak, but that's okay.
I
don't
think
smell anything.
I think it's kind of the story is good, but you get that New Hope feeling because it feels like this trilogy is just going to be a melding of the prequel trilogies and the original trilogy's stories. Because, like, there's elements from both, and it's not that there's just elements, but it's like you can literally see the copy and paste where you just put the two stories together. And that's not inherently a bad thing, but coming from something that was from a movie that was so, like, highly touted that everyone wanted to see, I was a little disappointed in the story arcs, but the actors and the way they did those story arcs, I was really impressed by.
Yeah. J.J. Abrams is doing, and this is an interesting way to describe this movie that I heard, and it's with regards to actually the Star Wars Christmas special, which I hope no one ever has to see because it's awful, is that it's very similar to A New Hope, because J.J. Abrams and all these new directors that will follow after him have to go back and prove that they can make a good Star Wars movie again. And that's what this was. They're going back on all the things that made A New Hope good so they can regain our trust, because let's be honest, the prequels were lackluster to say the least.
Well, all my favorite movies are the prequels, but
And you see, this is where you and I disagree.
Attack of the Clones is the best Star Wars movie in my opinion.
Return of the Jedi.
I don't know, this one was pretty good.
Alright, yeah, let me rephrase that. This is, like, at least for me personally, The Force Awakens is my favorite standalone Star Wars movie. Because it actually has a plot that gets done and dusted during the course of the movie. A little bit like A New Hope, but A New Hope still left questions in the air. And that's not to say The Force Awakens ending doesn't leave questions in the air, but it starts a new story arc after the old one is done.
It's basically like passing of the torch.
Yeah.
As many characters are slowly going away and new ones are coming in.
Exactly. Don't sugarcoat it. Han dies. We put spoilers right in there. All right.
Yeah.
Torque's trying to jump around the bush here, but
every little thing that happens to Han Solo in this is like He's dead.
And like I got all right, and let's just give praise to the screenwriter J.J. Abrams, people who put this story together, George Lucas. Like Han Solo, you see him in the promotional trailers, and you see Chewbacca. Excuse me, and the Millennium Falcon, and you expect like, all right, they're gonna have like 15 minutes of screen time across the movie. Pretty much after the first 40 minutes, 45 minutes, it's a Han Solo movie. Like it's just like he's the main character. If you wanna, you can make any arguments about who the main character is, and if you say Han Solo, I
Yeah.
can't argue that. And like, and the way they do it is it's so well crafted together. Where like the Kylo Ren father, shocker, quote unquote. I say shocker because it probably surprised a lot of people, but I went into that movie and no one here, I didn't see the movie here with anyone, but I went into that movie with my father and I told my father, Kylo Ren is going to be Han Solo's son because that's like a previous book that they wrote.
What about Kylo Ren or just
Not Kylo. He wasn't named Kylo Ren. It was Jaden Solo and someone else Solo, and they were both Jedi. And one turned to the dark side, one was the light side.
Yeah.
And so I was like, Kylo Ren. It's Star Wars. Of course, they're gonna do "I am your father." They're probably not gonna do Luke Skywalker, father type thing. So like long story short, when they had that thing where they go Kylo Ren is Han Solo's father, I turned straight to my dad and go, yeah, that's right, I
See,
called it.
I turned to whatever the heck your name is.
Edge.
Yeah, who cares anymore? I turned to you, and you saw me. I was quite surprised for some reason. I don't know why it caught me off guard so much.
See, I had a different reaction to this reveal. Is that I didn't see it coming because the way that they made Kylo Ren sound, like in pre-production, he sounded like he was the leader of the First Order, like he was this last Force user in the galaxy. And then when they say, "Oh, he's actually Ben Solo," I'm like, "Oh,
That guy.
okay." Except for I had already established that he's obviously not the leader of the First Order. We'll get to that in a minute. So, the spoiler fall. It didn't fall on me the same way it did everybody else. But like, draw it back here. The movie itself, fantastic in my opinion.
All right, so let's get a feeling on the characters. How do you guys feel
Oh,
about?
Finn's fucking awesome.
All right, let's start with
Oh.
Finn. Let's
Hey,
start
your
with
dad
Finn.
watches this. Watch your mouth.
Fuck off.
It's to you,
You
Mr.
think my
whoever.
dad watches this? No.
Anyways, your thoughts
Very
on Finn?
offended.
Oh, Finn is awesome. I still, at first, I was a little like, oh, this one stormtrooper has a conscience out of all the million. Is he related to anybody?
Okay.
But probably not.
Question. I'm not trying to be racist or anything,
Anal.
but
Sorry. It's usually the answer.
I was a little caught off guard that he was black, like a stormtrooper was black.
Why is that?
Because like they were all supposed to be the same
All
clone,
the-
right?
All right,
No,
but
he's
all the
not-
clone
okay, hold up,
troopers
hold up,
are
hold up.
black.
Let me just clear the air on this right
Yeah.
now because I got into a little argument on YouTube in the comment section about this.
You also
Finn-
got in an argument with me over it.
Finn is not a clone. He says in the movie he was taken as a child. He never knew his parents. He's
Okay,
not a clone.
So then what happened to the whole clones thing?
They probably got disbanded. Like, you play Star Wars Battlefront,
they-
the Battle of Jakku, that's the ultimate fall of the Empire right there.
No, they explain in the they explain in the movie kind of offhandedly that they still use clones, but they want to enlist other people because that's how because the First Order still uses clones, but they or wants to use clones, but they lost control of Camino because they're no longer
Yeah.
part of the Empire / New Republic.
And
Long story short, because we don't want to get too far off on a tangent,
I'm not
Finn is-
racist.
Irrelevant is not racist. Finn is not a clone.
You fucking
Okay,
racist.
continue your thoughts on it.
where was I? Oh,
He's awesome.
Finn's awesome. Like I kind of thought because he never knew his parents. Like maybe there's a story we need to find out in the next 2 movies, and maybe that relates to people. Oh, I fought with this guy. I don't know. Okay, I just thought he was awesome. He He learned really quick. That was surprising. I guess the one problem I have is this amateur was fighting Kylo Ren. What's his dark
With
side
a
name?
lightsaber.
Kylo Ren, that's his name,
Oh,
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren is fighting this amateur. What?
That's God. That's your basic name, and you don't know
I
who
was a little
Kylo Ren
surprised
is.
too that he could just pick up a
Yeah.
lightsaber and be like, "Oh,
I mean, he got his ass kicked, but still, he put up a pretty good fight.
Okay, and I'll.
is he alive still?" Like,
Yeah, he's still alive.
He's
oh,
alive.
yeah, I guess I could see you could
He's
see
in-
him breathing.
Yeah,
too.
he's alive.
He's in a coma. 'Cause he
And
got
they tell
sliced
you
his
he's
back.
alive.
Well, she's like, "I'll see you again someday," but it's like that could mean when they
No,
die.
he's-
or-
Finn is getting laid when he wakes up.
No, he's alive. Anyways,
they're
so
friends.
okay, so my thoughts on Finn. I am going to completely disagree with you. I like Finn. I don't think he's as good as he could have been, and I will tell you why. Because first of all,
Because Luke. Because Edge is racist.
no, I was actually one of the few people who was like,
We're gonna do it.
the Human Torch in Fantastic Four being a black guy. That's fantastic.
Yes.
No pun intended. I was one of the few people who was like that. But anyways, I felt that the tone of his character was kind of like inconsistent throughout the movie. You know, because he starts out as like unsure, this very like almost a kid in college for the first time. Like he's a kid who's been in middle school for a long time, and they just kind of drop him in college, and he's like, "Ooh, this is overwhelming. This is all very complicated." Exactly how he says it. To this kind of like, "Oh yeah, now I need to pump up how awesome I am because I'm actually not that awesome," and he kind of tries to sell a lie throughout the movie that he's like this big rebel badass, but he's actually just a lowly stormtrooper. And then from there, he turns into like this gun-toting badass, dropping people left and right, like that. When at the beginning of the movie, he's afraid to shoot people.
Well, I think they made it clear that he was trained. It wasn't that he was afraid to shoot people. He shot people before, but now he's questioning the
No,
morality
he did not.
of what's going
He
on.
didn't shoot people before because in the movie when he goes to that village, he said that was his first assignment.
That was his first engagement.
His
All right, but
Field.
at the same time, he's just as trained as other stormtroopers. He just never put it to use, I guess.
I will say that the one thing I really liked about Finn's character is that he establishes that they establish, or rather re-establish, that non-force users can use lightsabers effectively.
Well, but that, yeah, like that's, I'm a little twisted on that, because it does make sense that a lightsaber is just a colorful, powerful sword. So if you can use a sword or a Vidro blade, as they're called in the Star Wars universe, then it makes sense you should at least be able to wield a lightsaber. But then that leads to the question, well, that leads to the thing that Jedi use lightsabers better because they can control the Force, and it
Yeah.
helps them guide it. If that's the case, then how come Kylo Ren had he had a more difficult time than he should have dealing with Finn? Like,
I will explain that perfectly when we get to talking about Kylo Ren, but with that, let's get your thoughts on Finn since we kind of moved on to you.
Finn would be my favorite character if Kylo Ren wasn't in the movie. Like, Kylo Ren, I didn't. We're. All right,
Finn, we'll get to Kylo
yeah,
Ren.
we'll get to
Finn.
we'll get to Kylo Ren. But Finn was like, I was kind of with Josh for different reasons than it's kind of with Mr. Irrelevant over
See?
here.
Doesn't matter.
Kind of like his name's irrelevant. Yeah.
And that's why it's the name.
Finn, I kind of had the same idea as Mr. Irrelevant, where Finn was like, it didn't make sense a whole lot what his character was doing, and I appreciate how it came. I think if Mr. Irrelevant would stop doing lewd gestures in my direction, we can get going.
You British lewd gestures.
Okay, continue.
Finn, but like the actor who plays Finn, and I don't know his name. He is
John Boyega. That's
John
his real name.
Boyega. He's did a really good job bringing that character to life. Like, I think he's probably the best acted performance besides Harrison Ford and Han Solo, because you just don't get better than that. But but he's in his own class.
Yeah,
But
it's hard to compete well when you're compared to one of literally the greatest actors of all time,
it's like,
Harrison Ford.
and it's like, and I feel almost bad for the Finn character because I think the actor did so well
Yeah.
that Finn could have been garbage.
Yeah.
Like whereas in the prequels, Hayden Christensen didn't do Anakin Skywalker justice. Like I feel like this actor in that role could have done any type of Finn justice.
Yeah.
So I mean, in that case, it almost didn't matter how Finn was as a character, but I do really like the way they establish the connection between him and Ray,
Yeah.
because you can tell he actually kind of has feelings for her.
Well, let's
and
admit,
Ray
who doesn't?
and Ray I don't, and Ray totally, you know, I feel that we're here. I am gonna be getting bad publicity here for us, but I think Disney tried too hard to make Ray a strong female character
And
to where
with
and now we're gonna move into Ray.
Yeah.
We're gonna move into Ray territory, talking about her.
And we lost Irrelevant. Don't know where he went. He'll be back in a minute.
But we told him, but it feels like Disney tried too hard to make a relevant, powerful woman character. and it's not that I have a problem with powerful woman characters at all. I think they can be an asset. But it was almost to the point where at first you knew what Ray was gonna say in a moment. We're like, why are you holding my hand? Like, doesn't matter that he's holding your hand. Like that's not a display necessarily that he's trying to take command. He's leading you away. If a woman grabbed your hand, would it be the same thing? Like it was, you could tell where the agenda was leaking through there. Oh, this is a man leading a female character, even though it makes sense in the situation. So now a woman's gonna get upset, and then other people are gonna go, "Ooh, what a woman character!" Like I feel like if you take moments like that out of the story, you still get a strong woman character. But Ray almost turns into a parody of herself multiple times with little jokes about being led around by Finn. It turns into a parody of itself.
Well, I'm going to have to disagree a little bit, is that Finn, being kind of the uninitiated, I guess, like he hasn't really had a whole lot of interactions with people throughout his life. This is like the first time he's been away from the First Order. That when he sees a woman, I feel like this is exactly how he's going to respond, because he hasn't been able to he hasn't had any kind of
like
interaction.
us.
Yeah, it's like no, it's like you with women, but
Fire.
but then Ray, as far as like, I have to say that I've felt they did Ray pretty well, because all the marketing material led us to believe Finn was gonna be like the Force sensitive Jedi in the movie, and then it pulled a bait and switch, and this surprised me actually more than Kylo Ren being Han Solo's son, is that Rey's actually the Force sensitive one, and Finn isn't. That caught me off guard. I feel that that was a natural bait and switch, where otherwise it would have been, if they had marketed that from the beginning, it would be like, yeah, see, we have a strong female character in our movies, but they didn't do that. They sort of just put it in and then let us react to it instead of shoving it down our throats.
And I'll agree. I didn't convey my point. I like the Ray character. I just think the character got muddled when you have those little extra gags that are thrown in, and where the agenda of Disney bleeds out, like the hand holding scene when you're running away. It doesn't matter that he's holding your hand at that point. Like, just run. Or like when Finn and Han and Chewie come in to save Rey at the end of the movie, and Rey's already saved herself. She could have just said, like they had to make a big deal. Oh, I saved myself. Like, yeah, you did. That was already readily apparent. But
Yeah.
now we need to add the gag so that there's a soundbite later of Rey doing badass stuff when she already did the badass stuff. Now she's just rubbing it in.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. Irrelevant's back, so irrelevant. Your thoughts on Ray? What do you think of her?
Man, she's hot.
All right, Daisy Ridley is very attractive. What about the character Ray?
I feel like it's kind of the same thing they did in what was it? Mad Max. You know how they had like the woman
Like
kind of,
Furiosa?
yeah, like how it's the whole feministic thing, but I wasn't irritated by it in this movie. Like I don't really. Okay, I'm not gonna get into that. Yeah, I wasn't irritated by the feminism that I could kind of sense in the movie. Like they're trying to have like a woman protagonist, but it wasn't like it was kind of like whatever. I don't care. She did a really good job, and I'm really excited to see where she's gonna go from here.
All right, Torque.
10 out of 10 would bang again.
Would watch again.
Uh,
Okay.
Bang again.
no,
Okay.
you haven't. You won't. Okay,
All
so
right, so
we have his thoughts on it.
All right, and so then let's go. What are the base opinions of Poe? He's
Not
not
enough.
he's not in it a whole lot to really
That's my.
give you a run for the money, but like he's very the character comes off very strong and important in the first two scenes, or the first few scenes, I mean, and then like I thought he was dead,
Yeah.
and everyone thought he was dead, and then
I
he
kinda-
just
Well, because he shows up late. He shows up in the
He-
trailer doing other stuff, so we had to kind of know that he was going to live.
I have to admit I didn't watch much of the trailer, so I
Okay.
didn't see much of that coming. But like, then I kind of thought he was dead, and then he just appears with no explanation. Suddenly he made it back to the Republic. Like it's one of those things that they do a lot of in the prequel trilogy, where they reference things that we would like to see on camera.
Yeah.
Like there should have been a few scenes of Poe like just sitting out on Jakku like with his thumb out trying to catch a ride or something. Like that would have been entertaining.
Yeah, I felt my thoughts on Poe is that he was good. He needed more screen time because he has probably one of the best shot scenes in the entire movie. If I had to put my finger on one scene in particular, and it's where like the First Order. It's right after they blew up like the planet with the Republic and the Senate on it, which was not Coruscant. So I don't know what planet they blew up, but that's besides the point. The battle that happens right after that, right as the rebels show up, and they're called the Resistance, which bothers me. But right as the Resistance shows up to save the main characters, there's this tracking shot of Poe in his X-wing, and you can count as it kind of follows him in the background across the sky how many TIE fighters this guy shoots down, and it's like 10, maybe 9 or 10 TIE fighters that he shoots down. One of the best shots because it establishes that it doesn't jam down our throats. He's the best pilot in the Resistance.
They don't tell you it; they show you.
They don't tell you it; they show you it, and it's the best shot scene in the entire movie, in my opinion, because you got that stuff in the background showing how awesome he is. You have Finn on the ground. It's just a well put together scene. Okay, Torque. Your thoughts on Poe?
On Poe, well, there's not much that you guys haven't already said because I was a little confused on.
who
like-
we were even
like-
talking about.
Well, okay, I thought his name was Paul at first, so shut up.
It's Poe Dameron.
Okay,
Does that sound like a Star Wars name to you?
Does Poe?
Paul.
Paul?
Does Luke? If Luke is a name, then Paul can be a
Like-
name.
like I was just really confused because again there wasn't enough screen time to where, like, oh, he's alive, because obviously he hit like an eject button or something that we didn't see. So, which confuses me a little more because
Especially he left his jacket behind.
yeah, he left his jacket behind and Finn didn't hit an eject button.
Well, they both ejected. They just kind of glaze over that they landed in different places.
Yeah, that's. I mean, obviously they established that he's the best fighter. He was basically the number one, and I mean, there's not much that you guys didn't already say.
All right.
And here's one thing. It goes against what they tried to set up with Rey, but they make a whole big deal about how Leia Organa is the leader of the Resistance, and then during like the briefing scene, Poe just takes control and is like, all right, we're hitting here, 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 and here. All right, let's move out. Like, not even a confirmation from Leia going, hey, guys, let's go. Like, she's the general. Like, even, like I'm saying, even in Return of the Jedi, where they introduce Admiral Akbar out of nowhere, he's still the one giving the debrief.
Yeah, he's still here.
He's still in Return of the Jedi.
He is still here, though. He does show up
yeah,
in one scene.
He does. But, like, they, all right, he's the Admiral. He's the one in charge. All right. Leia Organa's the leader of the Resistance. She's the one in charge, but Poe is still just gonna say it all.
I think he would be their professional advisor. All right, irrelevant. Thoughts on Poe?
I don't really care for him really much. Like, he wasn't in the movie enough for me to be like, he's a badass fighter, but I just don't really care for him enough. I didn't see enough of him. He was there for seconds. Yeah, I could do without him. Like, if I never saw him in a movie again, I wouldn't lose sleep over it.
And I think that's the thing, like, to really get... It's more of an incomplete when we talk about him, because surely he's going to be more relevant in the next movies.
Yeah.
Because, like, really, this movie could do... Kind of like Raiders of the Lost Ark could do without Indiana Jones. This movie could do without Poe. It doesn't need Poe in there to drive the story.
I don't know so much
home.
that Raiders of the Lost Ark could do without Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones doesn't affect the story at all.
It's been proven many times.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways. Although Poe does have one of the funniest scenes in the movie, and it happens right at the beginning. Like, he's trying to fight off stormtroopers, and he gets caught by Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren gets him up in his face, and nobody's saying anything, and Poe's just like, so, how does this work? Do you talk first, or do I talk first? Which leads us into our next character, Kylo Ren, who I think we all have the most to say about of all the characters in the movie. Am I right?
Yeah, I would like to start this off because to me, Kylo Ren seemed like default Darth Lord. Like, based on the promotional material, he's the default Dark Lord. He's like a basic ripoff. He's a basic ripoff of Darth Vader, and like
that's what they're going for. That's what they're going for.
Yeah, well...
That's what they're going for.
Okay, you don't have to overemphasize that. Okay, so... But that's intended a little bit, because they kind of establish in the movie he has this fixation on his...
It's almost like I was going to say something after that, and people jumped on.
Okay, go. I'll wait.
They made it seem like he was just going to be a blatant ripoff and almost not important to the story. Same way, towards the end, Darth Vader, like in A New Hope, Darth Vader wasn't really a driving force of the story.
Yeah.
It was, he was just a side character, more or less, right until the end. And it was more about Luke and Ben Kenobi and all they were doing. And then they kind of make it seem like this movie's going to be about Finn and Rey and what they're doing. And then they do a complete 180 on us, and it's about Kylo Ren and what Han Solo are doing. Like, two people, and they make Kylo Ren... Alright, and I didn't see the actor who was playing Kylo Ren, otherwise I may have...
Driver.
No, I know who he is now, but I didn't know watching the movie that such a young guy was playing Kylo Ren, otherwise I may have thought of this sooner, but like, I disagree with Luke, not that, that scene he's talking about is very good. I think the best scene is the interrogation between Rey and Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Because it's anticlimactic, but it's so masterfully anticlimactic. Like,
side note here, did you know that the storm, or the whatever the frick he is,
the Knights of Ren.
Knights of Ren.
Yeah.
No, it was the stormtrooper, I guess, like you could say, that she used mind tricks on.
Yeah.
That was played by the guy who the dude in 007. That actor.
I have no idea what you're trying to talk about right now. I'm gonna be
Daniel
honest
Craig?
Yeah, that was played by Daniel Craig. He played that.
Oh.
Okay.
Fun fact. Okay.
That's why
Can we see it?
Back to the
Mr. Irrelevant with the irrelevant stuff.
Can
back
we
to-
see our site?
What are you saying, Trevor?
Source
Josh,
is
stupid as
cited.
usual.
Okay. Interrogation scene.
What are you
Pick
saying,
up
Josh?
Shut up.
You haven't even said anything.
I think the interrogation scene is the best scene because it is like so anticlimactic that they were trying to be anticlimactic. Like I guess for me, once again, not knowing the actor, but I expected like some badass looking scarred dude, and suddenly black haired Justin Bieber comes out on the other end, and you're like, what? Especially considering how Kylo Ren was like a major badass at the beginning of the movie, and then as soon as he shows his face and you mention Han Solo around him, he turns into like a little bitch.
Okay, and to pick it up right off of that, the to all the detractors about Kylo Ren, because I've heard it all, they say that he is a bitch, he's underwhelming, he should be more like Darth Vader. Yes, we'll drink to that because those people are stupid and don't know what they're talking about.
Took a shot by Chewbacca and kept going.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. Two scenes that prove he is kind of a bitch intentionally. The scene where he's talking to Darth Vader's helmet, and the interrogation scene that you were talking about. Because these two scenes establish that he is a guy who wants to have all the answers, thinks he can get all the answers, but doesn't have all the answers yet. When he's talking to the Darth Vader helmet, he's like, I can still feel the tug of the light. He has this, like, fixation on being like his grandfather, who is Darth Vader. A lot of people forgot about that, because they forget that Leia was Vader's kid too.
Yeah.
Like, that... The people were asking about that. How is that his grandfather? Is he actually Luke's kid? No. Leia is also related to Darth
They're
Vader.
twins.
Yeah, funny
Watch
how
the
that
prequels.
works. Watch the prequels. So, and then the fight at the end where he's clearly getting his ass kicked by Rey. Here's the defense to that, is that when we saw Darth Vader at the start of A New Hope, he has like 20 years of being a badass underneath his belt. He's been killing Jedi left and right.
And more than that, he was a Jedi for 10 years.
Kylo,
Killing, or facing Sith Lords.
yeah, and then Kylo Ren, on the other hand, we are still seeing him very much in his infancy as a Sith Lord. Like, Rey has this untapped power with the Force, and he's thinking of himself as this big badass. He's like, yeah, I'm the only space wizard in the entire galaxy, and I have my lightsaber and the Force, and nobody can stop me. When he finally meets another strong, Force-sensitive person, he doesn't know how to handle it because he's simply not trained to handle it. You can say, oh, well, he fought a bunch of Jedi when he betrayed the Jedi Order. Okay, it's easy to catch people off guard.
It's like in the prequels where Count Dooku is able to beat both Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's because Obi-Wan Kenobi has some experience, but there hasn't been Sith Lords in the galaxy to fight in forever. So
Yeah.
they're not trained to fight other Jedi. So that's how Count Dooku is able to beat both of them, and it takes Yoda, because he's been around long enough to see to see and or fight Sith Lords.
Well, not to mention he was his trainer.
Well, yes, that too.
Yeah. All the more
A
further to the point.
relevant fact from Mr. Irrelevant.
Well, no, it's not. Because
No, that's
you're,
a
like,
relevant
saying,
fact.
Yoda's had to come in and do it. It's like he trained him, so he knows him.
Okay, let's hear
And
your
we're
thoughts
agreeing
on
with you.
Well, you were making
Irrelevant.
fun of me, so-
Let's
No,
hear.
we weren't.
Let's hear your thoughts on Kylo Ren.
God, a fist fight's about to break out.
Just have Trevor.
Okay, Torque, let's hear your thoughts on Kylo Ren.
Okay, this is a small thing, but his lightsaber irritated me. Because no, hold on, because he had the two flames on the side. I was like, okay, that's badass. Now, what's the use for that?
Did we tell
Well,
you
he-
why?
Yeah, no, but then watching in the fight scene, you know, he burned Finn's shoulder.
Did we tell you why it's like that?
No, what?
Because he has a cracked lightsaber crystal. Like, it's untapped power. They have to have those vents to put off the extra energy that the crystal is putting out.
All right,
And it's like
my name's Mr. Irrelevant now.
it's a metaphor for his character almost. He's a cracked, broken crystal that has so much untapped power.
We are getting into some deep shit.
Okay.
Actually, J.J. Abrams got into some deep shit.
Okay, we've talked about the three main characters, sort of. It was kind of hard to get our opinions from certain people. Let's do briefly talks about the returning characters, because we can kind of bundle them into one. Han Solo will probably talk about the most. Returning characters, Han Solo, easily one of the best parts of this movie.
He is the best part.
I can't
Besides
believe
Kylo Ren.
that in 30 years of being with Chewbacca, he has never tried out his crossbow until this movie.
Yeah, that cop.
It's a little thing, but it's like, come on, man.
It seems like he would have used the bowcaster by this point.
All right, another nitpick. Do they ever explain what happened to C-3PO's arm?
No.
It's just randomly red.
Like Josh said, they should make their own movie just about C-3PO.
Because they make a joke where like, oh yes, I should really get this arm replaced. Like we know, like it's some funny thing that he got his arm replaced. Like that didn't make sense at all. I tried to remember, did he end Return of the Jedi with a missing arm or something?
Yeah, it's just one of those dumb things that'll probably get
another
answered later.
another
Yeah, probably get
nitpick.
answered next week.
Another nitpick. Why did R2D2 turn on? Was it set? No, listen. Was he set on a timer, and it's just a lucky timer that happened to coincide with, oh, Resistance just won a battle, so
No, 'cause
R2D2 was? Is there some mental?
He was in like a coma because he was in low power mode.
Exactly.
He still had a mind and knew what was going on.
I
No,
don't
that,
know.
that no,
I
they
don't know
made
about
they
that.
made that clear
Alright.
that droids don't work like that. Like,
Well,
like
R2 is special.
no, but I'm saying I'm not
People are special.
I'm not satisfied with that answer. Did like Luke obviously didn't want to be found, so like it's not like he sent like a mental connection
Maybe
across
that's why he looked so pissed off at the end of the movie.
because he didn't want to be found. Like that's my point.
Yeah.
So why did R2D2 suddenly turn on and go, you know what? Luke needs help. Why was he turned off? That's something that'll probably get explained, but it's eating the hell out of me right now.
I don't know. I felt like that's probably just one of the little coincidences that we have to take one, I guess, because
Take
the
one
rest
for
of
the team.
Yeah, because the rest of the story is good enough that these little inconsistencies are passable. But no, that is something that should be explained a little further. One character, we talk about Poe not getting enough screen time. Luke Skywalker. He's in the like J.J. Abrams. Here's how he is the biggest troll in cinema history. J.J. Abrams, he was asked directly, why doesn't Luke Skywalker show up in the trailer? Like he shows up, you can see his mechanical hand, but that's it. And then he says,
But
well,
and that could even be anyone's mechanical hand if we're getting nitpicky.
but nonetheless, J.J. Abrams said, oh, he was left out of the trailer intentionally. So everybody starts going crazy, like, what?
He's
Is
a
he-
dark side.
Did he turn to the dark side? Is he actually Kylo Ren? What's going on?
Which
And then
isn't a bad idea because George Lucas originally was going to turn Luke Skywalker to the dark side, but in order to sell toys, he made it a more happy ending.
Nonetheless, we're all like, what's happening to Luke Skywalker? And then we realize, oh, the reason he was left out of the trailer is because he's not in the fucking movie.
Well, he is.
He's there for 30 seconds and it's a reveal, so they can't show him in the
And
trailer.
it's very awkward
It's
for
super
those 30
awkward.
seconds. It's like, oh, my daughter I have not spoken to in years.
It's like, Torque, what was the finish to this movie that you heard would be much better than what actually happened?
Okay, I actually heard it from Mark, my stepdad, you would call him. He thought it would be better because the holding scene was great until it got like,
Until it went on for like a full minute.
yeah, it was just, then it got to that point where it was really weird. What he wanted to happen was she reaches out with it with the lightsaber, and then Luke just pulls the lightsaber to his hand with the Force, and then the movie ends.
Exactly.
That's what I thought
exactly
was
what
gonna
my
happen.
point. Or something else where just something, a shake of the head, like no, that's not me anymore. Luke turns his back or something. Something cuz a complete cliffhanger like that on a movie franchise as big as Star Wars, I feel like that's unacceptable.
Well, they were on a cliff.
They
God damn it.
don't encourage him. They like just such a big cliffhanger where where you don't see it either way because it's still a cliffhanger whether he grabs the lightsaber or renounces the Jedi ways or whatever. Like I agree with your stepfather in that aspect. I immediately said that going out of the theater to my own father. I'm like, well, they give us a hint either way. There's more to salivate on because now we're fixated on one thing. Is he going to say yes or is he going to say no? Now, but we could be fixated, well, is he going to come back and he took the lightsaber, is he going to come back and totally own Kylo Ren? He turned his back on the Jedi. is he perhaps going to be the dark side? Is he going to join Kylo Ren, teach Kylo Ren how to be a badass? Like, you can still fixate on that, I guess, but we don't know enough to speculate.
Well, I can
Yeah.
also understand because I guess I kind of glazed over it. It's pretty clear that Rey is Luke Skywalker's daughter.
Well, okay.
Alright,
get to-
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that, but my point is, maybe he's just in shock that his daughter found his lightsaber and made it to the place he was hiding. I'm thinking he was maybe in shock. Maybe that's what J.J. Abrams was going for, but you know.
Okay, so real fast, more of a question to you guys. We've talked about the characters. We've talked
Oh,
briefly.
wait, no, there's one character we haven't talked about, and that's Leia Organa.
Uh,
And she kind of...
How you guys doing? I've stopped smoking for 1,000 years.
I thought she sounded just fine.
I thought she sounded like she'd been smoking and drinking for ever since Return
That's
of the
because
Jedi came out.
that's probably what she's been doing.
I thought
She hadn't had a career after
I
that.
thought she looked like Han Solo, aged and got a little fat.
Like, yeah, like, and same with Mark Hamill for Luke Skywalker.
Okay, Mark Hamill looks like shit.
No,
course,
he
it was-
doesn't. He looks
okay,
way
he
better.
He looks fine. But about Leia, it was funny because I went to go and see this movie for the second time with Irrelevant and his extended family, his brother and brother-in-law, etc. And as we were walking out of the theater, his brother-in-law says a really funny line because we have established that Leia and Han are Kylo Ren's parents, and Kylo Ren kills Han like at the climax of the movie. And Irrelevant's brother-in-law says, I really wish that they would have killed off Leia, because she really didn't do much in this movie, and she sounds like she's been smoking for 30 years. Can they have killed her off, and can we keep Han? And I was like, Harrison Ford has a career after this, and Carrie Fisher doesn't?
Well, the funny thing was killing off Harrison Ford is that he's signed on for the next two movies.
Well, no, he didn't.
claim
He
that.
hasn't. No, he didn't sign on for the next two movies. He's apparently in the cast for Episode 8, but he's probably there for like a cameo. Like, I've now become one with the Force. Ironic because he's the guy who renounced the Force so much throughout the other movies. It would be character development. Who'd have thought? Okay, so Leia.
Leia is like Poe. There's not enough to go on to really...
Maybe that's why Poe took over.
Well, but once again, like, this movie would be just fine without Poe or Leia.
Yeah.
They're not relevant to the plot. There is a little subplot there's subplots with both of them, but like, I do feel a little robbed that we don't get a better Leia Han Solo
Yeah.
thing.
I'm gonna say, when I went to see the movie with my dad, and the reason I wasn't so disappointed is because the crowd there was nuts.
Uh-huh.
Like when C-3PO came on,
Yeah.
when Harrison Ford, they were cheering. When
crowd
they
made
saw
it good.
Wookiee, it was like a Ric Flair's woo, and then it spreads. There was like a bunch of Chewbacca sounds going throughout the theater. It was great.
I had something similar like that when Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, pulled down his hood. Everyone in the movie theater laughed, just straight laughed at Mark Hamill's face, and I was like, come on, he looks good. He looks like a 70-year-old.
Okay, when I
Come
said
on,
he
that
looks
man
like
was
crap, I mean like as a person now, not in the movie because I think they did a lot of makeup, but he does not look
Alright.
like he had a career.
Oh, come on. Luke Skywalker was my friggin' hero growing up. I love
And now
Luke
he's
Skywalker.
not.
Oh, he still can be. I just don't know what they're going to go with it.
Alright, and so let's get to one other plot hole, I guess. Not really a hole, more like just poorly explained, about how the First Order destroyed the Republic by destroying 12 planets at most.
This is probably one of the biggest details that they just kind of glaze over. Is they said they're going to blow up the Republic. Well, we've established that the Republic and
It
the
has
Senate
hundreds of planets.
hundreds of planets, and the centerpiece where the Senate happens is Coruscant. They say this is something that got glazed over in the fourth movie, is that they broke up the Republic. Now regional governors are governing everything, but now the Republic's back. So you would think that the Senate would be rebuilt on Coruscant. So why didn't they blow up Coruscant?
And even if they did, that wouldn't have destroyed the Republic.
Yeah.
because you have senators, you have ambassadors, you still have everyone else. The Republic isn't destroyed, distracted maybe, but like 12 planets any way you cut it doesn't destroy the Republic. Like that's like saying for the United States, we're going to destroy 12 of the 50 states. Yes, that would hurt. It would wound us. Like but that doesn't destroy the United States destroying 12 of them.
Yeah.
The only argument you could possibly make to continue the United States analogy is if you hit New York, California,
Washington
Washington
D.C.
D.C.
Yeah.
Like if you hit all the big centers and only left like Kansas and Missouri left, then
Well, let's be
maybe.
honest. Do we
But
count
but they
those as
don't.
states?
But they don't. But they
Yes.
don't explain what planets they hit. They don't
Yeah.
explain how the Republic's destroyed. And we've seen across. And of course, this has all been wiped out at this point. All the comic books and everything. But you see instances throughout the extended Star Wars lore where the Republic gets, or the senators, the politicians get, a lot of them get killed or they get cut off. There's still entire fleets of Republic soldiers
Yeah.
and ships out there with admirals that are moderately intelligent at least that would be able to put up some offense even if they don't have politicians with them.
Yeah.
So and I'm not saying they could have destroyed the Republic in those 12 planets, but they just say it, they don't show it.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating.
So with save some save some plot holes, some rather glaring plot holes at times. There's two things left that I'd at least like to get out of the way. There are some theories, but we'll do that after we give our overalls because we want to show that even though we pick a movie apart, we show its flaws.
We pick it apart because we love it.
Exactly. So let's go real quick, left to right. Out of 10, Star Wars The Force Awakens, irrelevant, go.
9.5.
9.5 out of 10. Why?
It was one of my favorite movies, like
Of all time?
of all time. Like up there with Interstellar, it just really kept me captivated the whole time. Like I literally sat there jumping in my seat every time. Okay, the thing about this is the movie was it was predictable, but like the way they did it, it was still awesome. Like when his hand was sticking out and he was trying to get Luke's lightsaber, and then it starts to move. I knew it was totally going at Rey's hand. Yeah, and then when she caught it and she sat there and then she turned on the lightsaber, I was like,
You hear
yes!
that, and the
It's
music
the
picks
coolest thing
up.
of all time.
Yeah. Okay. Gibby.
Alright, well, like I said before, it's the best standalone Star Wars movie. But at the same time, it was also a good movie, even if like, if you take the story and strip away the Star Wars and it was just a generic sci-fi movie,
Yeah.
it would be a good movie. At the same time, it doesn't rank up there with, in my opinion, with the best movies. The best movie I've ever seen in theater was Interstellar, like Irrelevant just said. And Interstellar, walking out of the movie theater, I walked out of it with Irrelevant, and I said 9.5. I walked out of Force Awakens, and I was like 8.5. Looking back on it, with the plot holes there are, with the forced agendas and the extra side jokes that don't really make a whole lot of sense, like I scale it back. It's an 8 for me, an 8 out of 10 movie.
Okay.
With potential that the second and the third installments could possibly be best movies I've ever seen. I feel like this is a setup movie for better things to come.
Okay. And with my thoughts on this, let me start it. Let me preface this way. There's only so many times that I go to see a movie in the theater more than once. The last movie I saw twice in the theater was Star Wars Episode 3 back in 2005. And then 10 years later, here I am going to see The Force Awakens twice in the theaters. I didn't even go to see Interstellar twice in the theaters. Almost did, but didn't. Didn't feel it necessary to spend extra money on it, and also I couldn't go. I went to go see The Force Awakens multiple times. I still enjoy it, even after, like, the second time I've seen it, want to go see it the third time. I rank it as the prequels outside, because I no longer enjoy the prequels, um, I put it as Episode 4, The Force Awakens, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. That's the order of least to most in my favorites when it comes to the Star Wars. That being said, I give it a 9 out of 10. Why? Because I look at the plot holes and I look at it in the same sense as Episode 4. Episode 4 had a lot of plot holes that they didn't cover until Empire Strikes Back. That being said, I'm willing to forgive a lot of the plot holes. But it doesn't get a 10 out of 10 because it follows almost too closely to Episode 4. You can call out almost everything that's going to happen because you've seen Episode 4. So, 9 out of 10 loses points because it's a little predictable.
Like,
I'm gonna go with a 9 out of 10 as well. Obviously, there's a lot of plot holes. C-3PO's arm, that one bites at me. I don't know why that one specifically, with all the other ones that are going on, but that one bites me like right in the dick, and I really hate it. So, I mean, but still, the movie was awesome. Yes, it was very predictable, like The New Hope, but still, you just wanted to sit there and enjoy it. And there were no Ewoks, so
Yeah.
I think
Well,
that'll count as the entire point.
I don't know. I kind of dig the Ewoks. Episode 6 managed to do kid stuff, but still made it cool.
Yeah, no, I wanted Ewoks.
Oh. Oh, you wanted Ewoks. Okay.
There were no Ewoks, so I took off a point.
That's incredibly dumb. Okay, so
We see where you're standing. So
Alright, well, on the other hand, there were also no Gungans, so you should add that point back. So
You know what? By the time we get over this, it'll be like a 4 out of 10.
okay, so last thing that I want to do to wrap this up is there are some theories that I've heard about certain things. Stop doing that. There are some theories that I've heard about the movie that I'm gonna say. Some of them are yes or no. Some of them I'll say thoughts, and I just want to hear what you guys have to say. So, Rey is Luke's daughter. Yes or no?
Yes.
yeah,
no.
Okay.
And the reason that I think that is that I think that's, in my world, that's the backup plan. If all else fails, that's entertaining. All right, but I think there's something to be said that there's a possibility that Rey and Kylo Ren are twins,
Yeah.
and that just like the extended universe originally had it, where they were both Han Solo and Leia's children. Now, obviously, the follow up is that Han and Leia never reference having twins,
Uh-huh.
and there's just something that strikes me that almost like there's just something that strikes me about the way Han and Leia act towards each other, that Leia could have possibly hidden that there was twins. I don't know how you would do that. That would take some doing. But they could have hidden that there was twins, because, like, you could come up with any excuse. Like, Han Solo didn't want to have multiple children. Yeah, hell, you could have said he didn't want to have one children, because that would tie him down, and he doesn't like to be tied down. So, like, it's a rather stretched argument, but there's ways they could do it. And, like, so in principle, yes, I agree that Rey could be Luke Skywalker's daughter. But at the same time, they have a more entertaining, in my opinion, plot development there, that Rey and Kylo Ren, Rey and Ben, could be twins.
Yeah. That very real.
That was the next theory.
The next. Like a lot of the theories are around who is Rey's parents. Like some of the prime culprits are she's a Solo. Others say she's a Skywalker. There's even one theory that was brought up that she could be a Kenobi, like she's Ben Kenobi's granddaughter. I don't know so much about that one, but that was thrown out there. Torque, you have thoughts?
Well, I just want to say my primary arguments for thinking, because I would like that better, because it's a 180. You know, we're not expecting them to be twins. Everyone's expecting Rey to be Luke's daughter. But one of the primary reasons why I think Rey is Luke's daughter is because, you know, in the scene when your anticlimactic scene when Kylo Ren is trying to use the Force to the pull
Information.
pull information out of Rey, he says, I see it. The giant ocean with the island. Where's Luke Skywalker? I know it's kind of a little thing, but that's one of my primary arguments. But the other thing is, who's the mother? Is gonna be the other thing that
Yeah.
is also
Yeah,
the
because
problem with it. I can't think of
at
it.
least Han and Leia, you have an established relationship. If Luke is the daughter, or if Rey is the daughter of Luke, then you just have to shoehorn a female in there somewhere.
And
Yeah.
one more thing is Rey became very close with the Force that she barely knew anything about. She became very strong with that. Leia, the only relation she has is to Luke, so maybe
Well, and
like
Vader.
and Vader.
Yeah.
Yes, and then Han Solo is a dad who fucking doesn't believe it.
Yeah, and he's not
But-
Force sensitive.
But I
Uh,
mean,
but-
with how strong she became with the Force, it just gives
An-
more of a
another
reason to her.
another subtle point is that Rey knew nothing about her Force abilities until told by Han Solo, who could be her father.
Yeah.
She was told about the Force by Han Solo, and then suddenly starts unlocking the powers, especially after meeting Leia. So there could be that just bond there between them.
Solo's secretly a Jedi, confirmed.
Alright, one theory, and I'm not sure it's a theory, but it's that Ewan McGregor will be in the next few movies as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
As like the ghost or something.
Yeah, as old Obi-Wan Kenobi. And it's because, and this theory, I've read nothing about it. It was something my uncles told me after seeing the movie. Because he was just so certain of it, I have to say it, even though I didn't hear it. It's during that flashback scene where Rey grabs the lightsaber, and I just thought it was random voices talking. If at best it was Luke's voice talking. And he seemed to think that they referenced Obi-Wan in there.
They did.
And it was supposed to be Obi-Wan talking during those.
I read an article about that. That's
There we go. And I was like, no, Brandon, you're being dumb. And he's like, no, I'm pretty sure that was Obi-Wan talking. And so then my uncle got on this whole spiel where Luke Skywalker says, no, I'm done with being a Jedi. And Rey goes off and does what Luke does in the 5th movie. Goes off and is like, well, I'll fight on my own even though I'm not trained. And then Obi-Wan Kenobi comes in ghost form and tries to teach Rey what he can through the power of the Force. And so, I mean, I think that would be that'd be a way to tie the prequels in, is having Ewan McGregor in there. And I'm not opposed to that. Actually, I forgot to make this joke, so I'll bring the topic back in order to make this. But if Han and Leia turn out to be Rey's mother, we are robbed of someone saying, Luke is your father, instead of Luke, I am your father. So we are a little robbed of that line.
That would be funny. Okay.
It looks like these are the droids you're looking for.
Okay. One more theory, then I think that'll be enough to wrap it up. Supreme Leader Snoke. Thoughts? Who is he?
But, alright, well,
I
why does the sun set at night? Like, that's the same question
Okay,
you're
but this
asking.
is the thing. No one seems to know, but I heard a theory, courtesy of another Star Wars spoiler thoughts video that I watched. What if Supreme Leader Snoke is Darth Plagueis? Now I'm hoping that rings some bells with some people,
no.
because it's the best scene in Episode 3 because it sets up the mythos of Star Wars. The prequels couldn't do it, but that scene set up backstory. What if Supreme Leader Snoke is Plagueis? He is now back to claim the spot the power void left by Palpatine. And it goes a step further, because what could Plagueis do that set him aside from other Sith Lords?
He could stop people from dying.
And he could create
Life.
life. Now, one of the biggest plot holes throughout the whole prequels, throughout the whole Star Wars trilogy, because it's all about Anakin Skywalker, really. Who's Anakin Skywalker's father?
No one. He was created by midichlorians, by the Force. Darth Plagueis created Anakin Skywalker to be the Dark Lord of the Sith, but Anakin Skywalker was like, no, I'm gonna kill Chancellor Palpatine.
Okay,
I've
kind of.
seen that theory.
It's kind of like that, but a little different. My theory is that Sidious tries to kill Plagueis, fails. Plagueis then uses the Force to impregnate Shmi Skywalker, a random nobody, creates this theory about a chosen one, so he can have this ace in the hole as someone who is going to kill Palpatine for him. And now he's back. Now that both Vader and Palpatine are dead, he's here to fill the void with new apprentices and the Knights of Ren on his side.
And that sounds beautiful. The one thing I can say is, if Darth Plagueis is that powerful, why didn't he just kill Darth Sidious himself?
Because I don't think they've shown his full power yet.
I mean, I don't know. I can't. I mean, it. Like we said, this is just theory. Hey, that's just a film theory.
Hey, not our catchphrase. And
we're
there's-
gonna get copyrighted.
Sorry, Matt Pat.
Yeah, and there's so much stuff to talk about. We're gonna have to cut it off right here. Feel free to drop a subscribe, drop a like, leave a comment, give us your thoughts on who you think Rey's parents are.
We need a picture of the look that Torque is currently giving me after that Matt Pat reference.
Yeah.
You fucking idiot.
So
There goes my 10 cents.
you don't get paid for it anyway. Off topic. I hope you all get to check out the rest of the videos on the channel. You can see
Shut the fuck up.
You can see me retaining the 1v1 championship on our 1v1 series that we have, where a moderator picks a topic regarding a lot of different stuff. We just do wrestling now. We're planning to expand in the future. And two people debate in a one-on-one battle, and whoever wins gets to hold the championship
And
as
Luke
the
just
1v1
wants to.
champion.
And Luke just wants
And yes,
to.
I'm toting my
brag.
victory because that's what
Because
heels
you've
do.
gotten 2 steals, 2 dusty finishes on me.
All right. Thank
and
you.
one on me.
Yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Check out the rest of the videos on the channel, and we will see you next
I'm
time.
going the fuck to bed.